I spent 18 years alone. 18 years without holding someone's hand. 18 years of coming home to an empty house. 18 years telling myself I was fine. I'm 77 years old, and I finally understand what I was really doing. I wasn't protecting myself from getting hurt again. I was punishing myself for getting hurt the first time. And it cost me almost 2 decades of my life. This is what I learned about fear, loneliness, and why I was wrong to stay alone for so long. My wife, Linda, left in 1995. I was 51 years old. We'd been married for 22 years. And one morning, she told me she couldn't do it anymore. She didn't have someone else. She wasn't angry. She was just done. She said, "Gerald, I've been lonely in this marriage for 10 years, and I can't be lonely anymore." And she left. I didn't understand what she meant. I was there every night. I came home from work. We ate dinner together. How could she be lonely? But she was right. I was physically present, but emotionally, I was somewhere else. Always thinking about work, always distracted, always half there. And by the time I realized she was serious, she was already gone. After the divorce, my friends kept telling me, "Gerald, you need to get back out there. You need to meet someone." But I couldn't. I told myself, I'm 51. I had my chance. I messed it up. That's it. And I decided, I'm not doing this again. I'm not getting hurt again. I'm not failing at marriage again. So I just stopped. Stopped dating, stopped looking, stopped trying. And you know what happens when you make that kind of decision? Time doesn't stop. It just keeps going. 52 became 55. 55 became 60. 60 became 65. And before I knew it, I was 69 years old, and I'd been alone for 18 years. 18 years of going through the motions. Work, home, TV, sleep. Work, home, TV, sleep. And I told myself I was fine. Then in 2013, I went to a church potluck. I didn't want to go. My sister Rosa practically dragged me. And I was standing there with a plate of lasagna trying to look busy when this woman walked up to me and said, "Your potato salad needs more salt." I looked at her. I said, "Excuse me?" She said, "Your potato salad, it's bland, needs salt, and maybe some paprika." I said, "Well, your chocolate cake has coconut in it. Chocolate cake shouldn't have coconut." She laughed. She said, "Oh, so you're one of those people." And we argued about food for 20 minutes. Her name was Susan. She was 67, widowed. Her husband had died 3 years earlier. And she was funny and sharp, and she didn't let me get away with anything. At the end of the night, she said, "You should call me. We can argue about recipes some more." And she handed me her number. I took it, but I didn't call, because the second I got home, the fear came back. What if I call and she doesn't answer? What if I call and she changed her mind? What if we go out and I mess it up like I messed up my marriage? What if I let someone in and they leave? What if I'm not good at this anymore? What if I'm too old? What if I get hurt again? I sat on that phone number for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of staring at it on my kitchen counter. 2 weeks of talking myself out of it every single day. Finally, my sister came over. She saw the number on the counter and said, "Who's this?" I told her about Susan. Rosa looked at me. She said, "Gerald, you're 69 years old. You've been alone for 18 years. You think you're protecting yourself, but all you're doing is hiding. Call her. What's the worst that could happen?" And I said, "She could say no." Rosa said, And then what? You'd still be alone, just like you are now. So what do you really have to lose? She was right. I had nothing to lose except more time. So I called. Susan and I have been together 11 years now. We didn't get married, we don't live together, but we see each other almost every day. We take walks, we cook together, we argue about stupid things and laugh. And she knows me, really knows me, the way Linda never did, because I never let her. At 77, I finally understand what I was doing for those 18 years. I thought I was protecting myself from pain, but really, I was punishing myself for failing. I thought if I stayed alone, I couldn't get hurt again, but I was hurting every single day. I just didn't call it hurt. I called it being fine. I called it not needing anyone. I called it moving on. But I hadn't moved on. I'd just stopped moving. 18 years, from 51 to 69. The years when my kids were having kids. The years when I could still travel, still walk without pain, still had energy. I spent those years alone in a house, convincing myself I was fine. And here's the truth. Susan didn't save me. I saved myself when I finally called her, because I finally admitted I was tired of being alone. I finally admitted I was scared. I finally admitted that staying alone wasn't strength. It was fear. If you're alone right now after 60 or 70 or 80, and you're telling yourself it's too late, or you're too old, or you had your chance and you blew it, I want you to hear this. Being alone because you choose it is one thing. Being alone because you're afraid is another. And if you're alone because you're afraid, you're not protecting yourself. You're just stealing your own time. Every relationship is a risk. At 40, at 60, at 80, you could get hurt. You could fail. You could lose someone. But here's what I learned. Loneliness hurts worse than rejection, and regret hurts worse than failure. I wasted 18 years trying to avoid pain, and all I did was guarantee I'd be in pain longer. Susan could have said no when I called. She could have changed her mind. We could have gone on one date and realized it wasn't right. But I called anyway. And those 11 years with her, they're worth every single one of the 18 years I wasted. I'm 77 years old, and I'm not going to tell you to never get a girlfriend after 60 or any of that nonsense. I'm going to tell you this. If you're alone right now and you want to not be alone, stop telling yourself stories about why you can't. Stop hiding behind protection. Stop punishing yourself for being human. Call the person. Take the risk. Say yes to the invitation. Because time doesn't stop while you figure out if you're ready. It just runs out. If you're sitting on someone's phone number right now, or you've been telling yourself maybe someday, this is your sign. Call them today. Not tomorrow, today. What's the worst that could happen? You'd still be alone, just like you are now. So what do you really have to lose? Leave a comment if this hit home. I want to know I'm not the only one who wasted years being afraid.